In a hospitality, I think you can make bigger fans in failure than you do in success. I think that's a real, true approach. Is like we are going to fail. How
Yeah.
we deal with that.
Price tag's still on there.
Oh my God.
And the name brand of the shirt.
All right, on today's episode, I'm excited to be joined by Hal Mooney. Hal is a hospitality pro, beer expert, and the co-founder of Mooney's Pizza Tavern. A new concept he's literally building in public while sharing the journey in real time on Instagram. From construction updates to behind the scenes decisions, he is showing what it really takes to open a restaurant and inviting the community along for the ride. So Hal, welcome to Fish Factor.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah.
Happy to be here amidst like the quietest day that it's been in this construction zone for almost a year.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Coincidentally.
So I've been, I'll give you the background. I have I had some injury and I was working out with a physical therapist she works out of her house in my neighborhood. I live near Byman Rossmore. And she's like, "Hey, have you followed this guy on Instagram opening a pizza place down the way?" And I'm like, "No." So I started following, going, "Oh my God." It's like really cool to see, one, right? Because in my experience, most restaurant guys don't bother with creating the content and the marketing. So to see somebody taking advantage of it the way you are is incredible. It also gives me a little PTSD because I've been through what you're going through multiple times, literally as we're talking. I just found out today one of our projects might get delayed 6 months because of postal commission, because we're always close to the water, and there's
Oh
nothing you
my
can do
God.
about
Yeah.
it. So,
Is
it's been fun to watch what you're doing. I'm excited to have the new place in the neighborhood, and then also it's like, why don't I just reach out to this guy and see if he could tell his story? So,
Yeah, I
tell
mean,
us what
God
you're.
bless the algorithm for like actually connecting us to people who are in our actual community. You know,
Yeah,
like I don't think there's. All I wanted to do was, just like anybody else in any neighborhood, I would have been the guy doing this on the windows, being like, "What's going on in there? Who's doing? What are they doing?"
yeah,
So I thought of myself on the inside, saying like, "I'll just instead of having random dudes walking in." Which they still do in construction.
sure.
I'll just tell people what's going on in here, so that way everyone can know, and they don't have to guess, and they can get to know us and our business even before the doors open. And
Well,
it's been working, which is
let's
great.
start there. Tell us about the concept and what you're building.
Yeah, so this is an old 1960s diner that we're in, and you can kind of see some of the bones of it still, right? It's like
Yeah,
in the shape of an old school diner.
that's
And
cool.
the shape of this restaurant was amazing. It has been empty before we got in. It had been empty for about 6 years. It was like a COVID um,
Mm.
casualty. And prior to that, there was, I want to say, decades of deferred maintenance in here.
Oh wow.
So it was in a rough condition, to say the least, when we first signed the lease in January of 2025.
Okay, so you.
Um, yeah, we've been in it a little over a year now from lease signing. It took about 6 months to negotiate the lease,
Yeah. I,
and
I
it's
know the area because my family loves Ben Lee, which is in the opposite corner of you, I believe.
oh yeah, they're a great restaurant.
Yeah,
And they've
fantastic.
been in this shopping center for 20 years.
Oh, I
I
didn't know
mean,
that.
yeah, Huff's, who was here when the diner was here, they've been here for 60 years before they closed. So,
Wow.
like, there is, some lineage over here. It's kind of in this weird part of a town in Long Beach that no one in Long Beach really knows it's Long Beach,
Yeah.
even though it is. It's not Hawaiian Gardens. It's not Cypress. It's not Los Alamitos. It's not Rossmore, but it is kind of all those things. It's
Yeah.
an interesting border town right here on the corner,
Well, you're
which is
close to the.
also great.
You're close. You're only what, like sort of a block away from Los Alamitos High School, and
Yeah,
also
it's a
the.
weird block, but
Well, my
it's a
kids all went
definite.
to school there, so that's why I would be in the area all the time.
Yeah, I mean, this intersection right here on the other side of the camera is
Yeah.
40,000 cars a day.
Wow.
So
That's a great problem
people
to have.
won't, yeah, people won't not know we're here. That's not the problem. Um, getting them in is always going to be an issue, and then making sure they want to come back is the biggest
Yeah.
drive that we want to kind of create.
Do you have a background? Have you ever done a restaurant or any kind of hospitality? What's your background in the industry, if you have one?
Yes, yes, and no, and yes. Like kind of all the above. So I've been a small business owner for all my adult life. I ran a brewery tour company in LA
Really?
and Orange County. Yeah, we owned a bunch of buses, and we would pick
No
people
way.
up and take them to breweries and talk about beer, smell beer, look at beer, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
And through that, I became a certified cicerone, which is like the beer equivalent of a sommelier.
Right.
And then also through that, I got hired on as the like national beverage director for a franchise pizza company called Medici.
Okay.
And they had one location when I signed on to be the beverage director, and they had like really aggressive franchise plans. They wanted to grow to 500 units in 5 years. This was right when like Blaze and 800 Degrees and 900
All
Degrees,
coming
like
up.
all the kind of fast, casual pizza places were happening. So
Right.
I quickly became part of their opening team and like their like management level because
Wow.
they had to have, you know, people go and open these places. So I learned a ton about opening pizzerias, and they did actually. It was a great model. It just didn't work as a franchise model. It was a Neapolitan wood-fired, like they called it fast fine, meaning that
Yeah.
it was nice looking and nicely executed, but quick. So I learned a lot about opening pizza restaurants through my experience with them, and then my wife and I and a buddy ran a pizza pop-up for 2 years before the pandemic.
No kidding. Where was that?
It was all over LA. We went to
Okay.
bars and front yards around LA. That was also wood fired, and ton of fun. Learned a lot about pizza, and then yeah, this I did some. I did a different beer thing after the pandemic and during the pandemic, which was like a beer subscription box. And then I kind of got time to pivot into something more real than just like a pandemic pivot business. And that's when I called about this space and then negotiated for 6 months and then signed the lease.
Yeah. Nice. Nice work. So what would you say this project versus what you were doing in the past with franchises and pop-ups? What's been harder or what's been a surprise for you on this one versus others?
Oh,
Or is there one? Maybe it's
everything.
all the same. Oh,
It's all the same, right? Like I knew what I was getting into. Like I have enough friends who own restaurants, breweries, um, pretty much those things that like I've heard everything, right? And I listen to enough podcasts. You know, there's like wonderful restaurant and pizza podcasts, and people are that's one of the most wonderful things about the world nowadays is like I can go hear other people's problems. And then when I get confronted by them, I'm at least not surprised.
yeah, I'm
They
not
don't make them any
alone.
easier. Yeah. The problems are still problems and they're still, you know, challenging. The keys are the tiny ones. Bingo. Sorry, we have employees running to our storage unit. I never thought of myself as a storage unit guy, but then, man, you open a restaurant and you need one like
We
immediately.
we just had the same issue because I won't go into our whole story, but we just opened a 5 year temporary location. I have a 3 to 5 year lease while we rebuild our original location, and we've got 15 or 1600 seats, and
Oh,
we built it out of container kitchens,
cool.
thinking it would be enough, and we're finding now there's not enough storage. And we're working with our one of our produce companies, and they're pretty cool. They're actually loaning us a truck, refrigerated
All right.
truck, just a
That's nice.
trailer, just a trailer to sit there because we go through so much produce and we don't have space for it. So, but it's we're helping one another out in different ways. But it's like sometimes you have to leverage those contacts in the network to make things work.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't get help unless you ask for it.
Nah, perfect. It's right on, man.
You know,
Um,
and
what,
I like doing everything myself, but it's just not possible.
No, you gotta. That'll kill you at some point. My
Real
uncle,
fast.
my uncle, who is one of our founders, is quoted in the LA Times saying, "Listen, if something happens and I die on a Friday, just put me in the freezer till Monday. You guys got to keep moving. Don't stop."
You gotta keep moving.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, well, let's not do that. I think the health department's going to frown on that. So, what has been like more fun than you expected for this project?
Oh, I don't think there's anything that's more fun than anything else. I really like it. I like all of it, right? Almost all of it. There's like one thing I don't like, I think, and then one thing that I don't like, but is expected. So the thing I don't like is I don't like my landlord. I don't like not own. I don't like not owning the building,
Yeah,
and
that's hard.
that's they're just not fun to work with. The landlord tenant relationship in America, or maybe in the world, is one that is entirely weighted incorrectly. Like it's just not the way that it should be in 2025. They hold all of the cards, and I mean that like in every sense.
Yeah.
There's so little recompense for what, especially me being of a small business. I don't have a lawyer on retainer. I have a Chat GPT Pro subscription, and like and a mind that functions. I won't even say well, but just functions. So
Yeah.
that I can't go and turn to my lawyer, and I certainly can't for tiny issues, tiny little debatable issues. And they have a lawyer on retainer, and they have a bank auditor or a construction auditor on retainer, and so they think they're going through routine steps. I don't think they're especially. I'm not trying to demonize them specifically. I think this is
I get
standard
it.
protocol.
I get it. Our landlords have mostly been city government, so it's a whole different level of bureaucracy.
Yeah. See that I can't imagine either. Yeah. Because my other thing that I don't like is working with the city, because that's also. But that one at least is kind of like everybody gets that. It's just the way it is. Like
Yeah.
I think the landlord relationship should be. It should be better. The city relationship, of course, should be better too. But it's just a pill that I don't know. It's easier to swallow with the city than with my
Yeah,
landlord.
one of the guests we had recently, he's got like 9 locations in the South Bay area, Redondo, Hermosa, Torrance, and I when I met him originally, so we have a restaurant in Long Beach in Alamitos Bay. Also, used to be
Okay.
Joe's Crab Shack, now it's at San Pedro Fish Market.
Cool.
And I met him because I hosted this networking dinner one night, and he was like, "You know what I do for building and safety? Because he already has restaurants open. I just bring him sandwiches or breakfast burritos to become friends with them, so that I can get my stuff expedited." And I'm like, "That's genius."
Yeah. Yeah.
But you don't have the pizza oven open yet, so you can't do it.
And that was the weirdest part about like all of this is like we couldn't do anything. Like we were
Yeah,
completely hogtied for the city. And still are technically.
yeah.
We have one inspection left. We have mechanical, and this is the I don't
The
I'd
hardest.
lost count of how many mechanical inspections we've
It
had.
is probably the hardest one. Yeah,
And that was expected. We had a hang up because we're venting our pizza oven. Also, we have a direct vent, which is a recommended installation from the manufacturer, but there's no specific manual for it. And the mechanical inspector expects it to come with a very detailed manual, like a water heater would.
yeah.
But this is it's an oven. It's a pizza oven, and they don't supply it. So the mechanical inspector kind of threw his hands up and he goes like, I don't know how to, I don't know what in which way to. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's more detailed than it needs to be, but
I understand. Now. We were there. We're there's no box to check for a temporary restaurant that's going to be open for 3 years.
yeah, that's
It's
that's a
literally
that's a
60, 90 days, like a pop up.
whole
But
new category.
so to do that, it literally took us 30 months. It was insane.
That's
You're in a
crazy.
totally different spot. I'm
Yeah.
curious. So, one of the things I found the most valuable that I've learned to do in the last, I'll say 10 years, right? Because it wasn't until really after we started using social media, was telling the story of our business. Because what I noticed, as soon as you had blogs and then Facebook and then Instagram, and you start to read, or Yelp, you start to read that people don't know who you are, what you're doing. They make up your own story about your family business. And we've been around, this will be our 70th year in business, right? So I'd read
Wow.
these stories like, well, they're kind of like a swap meet, like the one down in Ensenada. I'm like, where in the world did that come from? So I got really active in figuring out how can we tell our story, which turned into eventually a TV show. But watching what you're doing is so uncommon, in my opinion, and so many businesses don't want to. Nobody cares about my story. No one wants to hear it.
Yeah.
Well, I totally disagree with that. Because if you have 4 pizza places, in our case, we had 5 copycat businesses that opened next to us in the port of LA, and their leases specifically said they couldn't do what we were doing, but never got enforced. They copied everything we did. But at the end of the day, it was like, well, people knew us and our story. We were their first choice, and if they didn't want to wait in line, they went next door. So I'm wondering, like, as you're doing this in social media and you're telling your story, which I think is going to make all the difference in the world for you. What's showing up for you? Like, what surprised you? What kind of value have you found from it, even though you're not open yet?
Yeah, we have no idea if like any of this story or background or me being transparent about it actually converts to sales. Like
Oh, I'm going to tell you it will, and I'll tell you why.
I
Because I'm
certainly hope
I'm
so.
seeing
Yeah.
some of the people following you, like Brian Addison as an example. I don't know if you know
Oh,
Brian,
sure.
but
Hmm.
Brian. I think Brian will blow you guys up for sure. And there's
Yeah, I mean, between you and me, the last thing I want to do is get blown up. I want to make I want to make a great restaurant for our neighborhood.
yeah,
That's
take
kind of
it
the
slow.
long and short of it. Like
Yeah,
this part of Long Beach over here, like I said, is kind of like is it's not almost not Long Beach, but it is. But it's so thirsty for anything of value over here. There's a few good spots, like you said. Bentley is a cute little spot. There's
yeah,
Fish Company over here. You might be familiar with them.
yep, yep,
But it's like a very fancy old school fish sit down restaurant. Um, and then it just kind of trickles off, and there's just not a lot for about 15, 20 minutes in any direction. So that's the goal, is like service this area, service our the word community gets thrown around a lot, but like service our community around here and these people who need a place to bring their kids, and
yeah,
every kid deserves a pizzeria they grew up with, a dine-in pizzeria.
yeah.
I grew up in Illinois, in the Midwest, until I was 12, and we would always go out for pizza. Like we'd get pizza
Yeah,
delivered, for like kids parties and that kind of thing. But the majority of pizza memories that I have were all dine-in.
yeah.
And everything from like kind of the dive bar pizzerias where there's like pictures of beer floating around and it's super dark, and there's video games, to like more sit down family restaurants. And this is leaning that direction, but we still have a couple of arcade games and there's still going to be pictures of
All
beer.
that.
So it's like kind of an
Cool.
updated model of
You know,
all of it.
when I was a kid, we had, I don't know if it was, I think it was Straw Hat Pizza that was close
Oh,
to my
sure.
house. That we just ride our bikes down there, play video games all day, have a couple slices, and those are like great memories of my childhood growing up. And
Yeah.
there's not a lot of places like that around that I can think of.
Yeah, and there's plenty of people around here who want that, also want it for their life without kids, or with their grandkids or anything else. So we're trying to be that for a lot of people. We're trying to be a lot of things at the same time, which is usually
Yeah.
the death stroke for for businesses. But I think top level is we're a pizzeria. Second level is that we're a great neighborhood restaurant. Um, and then third level is, I don't know, we have a lot of
That's,
good beer and wine.
I can't wait to try it out, man. Have you had anything like what would you say you like you take a stand on where I'm not gonna I refuse to
Oh man,
compromise on this specific thing.
a lot.
Yeah, that's hard to do, but it's important.
I mean, that was a big learning. If we're talking about like what was fun and what was challenging on the build. One of them is like there's not a lot in here that's off the rack.
Hmm. Really?
I mean,
What's like custom?
yeah, the bench I'm sitting on is all custom woodwork, right? We didn't want to have chairs. These tables are custom,
Those are
because
cool.
they fit the rounded, bench seating that we built around here. Because
Yeah,
basically the building itself dictated a lot of this. They had this cool corner, but like we built this rounded edge to bar, which just looks rad. And then we wanted to
yeah,
repeat it here, then we wanted to repeat it here and repeat it there, and then we have this big old booth over there in the corner. So
so
it
cool.
just kind of like echoes out that way. Um, the
Do you?
pendant lamps that we
Who
made.
did
Hey,
you
how's it
find to
going?
build all that?
Good.
I knew you guys are opening soon. I just was stopping by to see if you guys were hiring at all.
You know what? We have our staff already lined up.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, but thank you. What was your name?
My name is
Work in
Tyler.
progress.
Yeah, I started following you guys like a little while ago. I applied online. I just wanted to follow up and see what's up.
Oh yeah, we had a ton of applications come through, so I appreciate your interest.
Yeah, no worries.
But if we have your stuff online, then we'll keep it on file, and
Yeah,
if there's ever
definitely.
openings, we'll let you know.
Cool. Yeah, I was a manager at a pizza spot like local too. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, so
Awesome.
yeah, like unfortunately I lost my job due to I had to have a surgery.
Oh, okay.
So like I just recovered from the surgery. Now I'm looking for a new job. So
Yeah, great.
yeah.
Well, I'm on. Sorry, I'm meeting.
Yeah, I
Oh, it's
I
all
was
good,
looking
man.
around to see if
It's
there
all
was any
good.
like postage or anything, and I didn't want to bother you,
Yeah.
so I just figured out a way, but you told me to come around. So
Sweet.
yeah,
All right. Thanks, Tyler.
no problem.
Have a good day.
You too.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Do you know that we just did a hiring fair and we promoted it all through social media? And one of the
Yeah.
things I did was I interviewed our employees that have been with us 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And then my marketing team repackaged it on our social like you're doing.
Oh,
We
cool.
had 200 people show up. Like they had to stop because at 11 o'clock at night, they're still taking applications.
Yeah, we had over 250 people in about 4 days
Wow.
apply. So
Fantastic.
I'm telling you, it's just a part of town that is, I think, underserved is a very appropriate word. There's just, real people over here who want real stuff, and they deserve it. Like, no offense to Dutch Brothers Coffee, right? People love them. People
Yeah.
really love them, and this space was either going to be us or a Dutch Brothers. And if that makes
Oh, really?
anyone sad, I
Well,
apologize.
I won't tell
But
my
yeah, people love it. But living in this neighborhood, it's not what I would have gone for.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm more of the mind that I want this to feel like somewhere, not anywhere.
yeah,
Like you're attached. You understand with the community. Like there's a lot of talk about what community means, and a lot of people at the corporate level have kind of co-opted that to sell shoes or whatever. But
yeah.
like
Not
community and
authentic.
like people that you see on a daily or weekly basis is a real thing. And it's really important to not be scared by the people you live around for the sake of your mental health and just like day in and day out. So like I have a firm belief in the power of like communal eating to make sure that you feel safe in the area in which you kind of live and breathe. And
Yeah.
that might be kind of high minded for, quote unquote, just a restaurant. But I got it. I imagine that we can do more good than a Dutch Brothers drive through in terms
I,
of building community.
I would speculate with you that with what you're doing, what you're this is just me based on what I've been working on in the background is you're more than a restaurant and a community place. You're actually kind of turned yourself into a media brand in a weird way because
Maybe.
you're telling the story and you're all over social media and like a friend of mine told me super successful guy. He lives in my neighborhood. He has some background in restaurants. He goes, Mike, if you had six different seafood restaurants near each other, which I told you we did, because the one with the best story wins because people want to like they can connect with the narrative, they want to be part of it, as opposed to I saw that guy. It's like I saw that guy's Instagram. I want to go check it out, just like the person just came in and wanted a job, right? That makes
Hmm.
such a big difference, and it's so rare. So I think you're going to find a lot of ROI on that, and I'm impressed, man. Just tell you.
Hey, thanks, man. It's. I mean, the internet's a very scary place.
It's hard
Like
to put
putting.
yourself out there.
It is, and like a lot of this project for me was literally doing just that, saying like, okay, I can't control what's gonna happen. I don't have that control. That's in someone else's hands. Whoever that is, whatever name that anyone gives to that, that exists. I can't control what people think
So
about.
I've also seen. No, you
Yeah.
can't. You do the best you can to take care of them. That's it. I mean, that's
Yeah.
hospitality. Make them happy,
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
know what? I find the people that are unhappy are just they're just waiting to become your biggest fan. It's just a matter of like taking care of them. It takes a
I
certain
mean, I think
psychological toughness, but
in a hospitality, I think you can make bigger fans in failure than you do in success. I think that's a real, true approach. Is like we are going to fail. How
yeah.
we deal with that is the difference between a huge fan and someone who And then if they don't want to like us, then like we at least tried our best.
So you
Which is
have
real.
you've had some of the content you shared is with your wife and is it daughters? Do you have two daughters or one? I
I have a
forget. Sorry.
son and a daughter. My daughter enjoys the camera a little bit more than my son
Okay.
does.
How old are they?
My son's 5 and my daughter is 3.
Awesome, man. Wow. Yeah, I was going through this when my kids were the same. My kids are all in their 20s now.
Oh
But I
wow, yeah.
remember like for your consideration, I had three daughters that all danced, like all kinds of ballet. And the thing is I would watch, they would have a 30-second performance it took 3 months to prepare for. And I was like, well, that's practice, right? You're practicing, and it's really just controlled failure. You
Yeah.
just do it and do it and do it until you get, and then you're on stage. I'm watching you think about where's dad going to take us to dinner afterwards because it's all muscle memory and you got through but in the restaurant business, it's all standard operating procedures until your crew's built in and you got everything going and you can multitask better because these things just become like muscle memory. You'll be there before you know it. With the businesses you've owned, I'm sure you've already been there. Restaurants a little
Yeah,
different, I think.
I mean, in staffing up this place, we if they didn't have any experience in restaurants, which was fine, we weren't necessarily looking for that. We wanted experience on a sports team or in theater, and the ability to like practice, drill. So that way, when you get there, it's like, oh, okay, you understand the need for practice and adjustments and the ability to kind of take notes during those phases. Because that's what theater is, it's what dance is, it's what sports are, it's what hospitality is. It's like, it's
Yeah,
all in the prep.
right. You know
You know?
what I was asking. I wanted to ask you a question. I was getting to it before, but the guy was coming to look for a job, which was
Oh
awesome,
yeah.
by the way, to capture. What who who designed the furniture and built it for you? That's really unusual.
That was a huge piece, right?
Yeah,
So
really
we worked
cool.
with a local architect named Jan Van Dijs. He's our architect and construction manager, and he was a great mentor for me throughout this whole experience to get this place. Because from day one, once I signed the lease, the goal was get open, right? Like I don't come from money.
Frosting.
There's no institution behind me. There's no like crazy investors or anything like that. Like this is, I have a little bit of friends and family money. We have a nice TI package. We have a second mortgage on the house. We have some credit cards, and then every bit I've saved from past businesses and stuff. So Jan was a huge help to in order to get me to the place that was open. And so he coordinated a lot of it, and then the design was done through me. We worked with a team called Design Camp to help pick some of the materials and finishes in here. So like they did a great job like sourcing the fabric for the booths, for example.
Nice.
They helped us find the amazing vendor who built these uh, pendant lights for us.
Yeah, those are cool.
Aren't they cool? Yeah.
Yeah, I love those.
Um, and then the rest of it was me in the space and trying to let the space dictate a lot of what the shape is going to be. I wanted wood everywhere,
Yeah,
and luckily, Jan, our architect, has a team of woodworkers, millworkers, who were able to come in and work on site. And lucky because not a lot of people do on-site millwork anymore. It is particularly uncommon. It all gets fabricated somewhere else, and they come and
yeah.
but to come
That's
and
why
be
I
able to
asked.
do it on site was
That,
huge. Yeah,
that's real.
it's
Real.
rare, right? Like
We
you
have
don't
a
see that.
we have a ton of old benches that my brother's just repainting and refinishing. It's nothing compared to building them from scratch. I mean, he can do that, but you get 1,500 seats. It's not like it costs more to have him do it than buy them.
Right. Yeah, that was true for a lot of this too. I mean, there's a bunch of existing equipment in here that like we wanted to reclaim and repurpose, and they're like, you probably can't. And even if you could, it's going to be 10 times the expense of what it would take to. We were able to repurpose the booths again. Like these look
Yeah.
great. They're all repurposed. Um,
And that's cool because I got to imagine there's a lot of people in the neighborhood that weren't customers there if they're around for 60 years.
yeah.
It'll appreciate that you took the time to honor what was there while bringing something new to the neighborhood too, no?
Yeah, right. I mean, I think so. I think people will appreciate, the connective tissue between the two. And then also, like, they don't make stuff like this anymore in a lot of ways. Like, one example is like these tables. Like, I worked with a restaurant table manufacturer, right? And the
Yeah.
first one, I tried to get them to make this table. See how this edge is like slightly bowed?
Yeah.
I really like it. It like
Cool.
creates this, I don't know, little soft bumper. It's like just a little design element. And the first table manufacturer that I was working with said like, no, 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 don't do. Nobody does that anymore. I was like, okay,
You know
fine,
what? I hate hearing that. That's why I'm going to do it.
yeah, right.
I don't want to be common like the rest of the industry. I want to stand out.
Two of the things that I hate hearing is I've been doing this a long time because what I'm going to hear next is something so boring or dumb or like it's just not it's never worth my time. Or two is they don't do it like that anymore in the kind of weird, unfortunate sense. So a lot of this was like, well, why not? Asking the question of why not from the very beginning and
That's
enjoying it.
exactly what to do. Is always ask why not, man. I think that's probably going to be the answer to one of my last questions. Is what did you learn about yourself so far through this process?
I really like opening restaurants.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, it's so fun.
that's cool. Not everybody could say that after they've opened one.
Dude, it was without a doubt the most challenging thing I've ever done in my entire life. Tack it on with the fact that I have basically zero income during this because this was
Yeah,
like pivoting to be like the thing.
yeah,
Um, but it came down to faith that like this was necessary.
yeah.
And
Sometimes
just
that's it,
trying.
man. Going with your
Yeah.
instincts.
So I love and I have loved the process of building this out. Um, there's been problems. There's so many problems, but I kind of, that's not unexpected. Some of them were more frustrating than others, but none of them were insurmountable.
Yeah.
There's still stuff in here that's not, I wouldn't even say not perfect, but not even good yet.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, from a design perspective, there's a couple things that these lights, for example,
Yeah.
they're the wrong temperature, and like people might say, oh, they look fine, and like sure, but they're, in my opinion, they're not.
Gonna
They're the
bug
wrong.
you though.
Oh my god, like it's patently wrong. You get it, right? There's
I
stuff that
totally
like,
do. Yeah.
yeah, where there's like the difference between like fine and good at this stage is huge, right? There's plenty of stuff that's in here that's good, not great.
Yeah.
And there's a million things that are great, not perfect. In fact, nothing is. Nothing.
Yeah. So it's hard because sometimes you just have to let it go, but it's like it sticks with you, keeps you up at night.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you've experienced this too. This was kind of a surprise to me. Like nothing. Well, that's not true. I would say two things in here, with the exception of two things. Nothing came out right the first try.
Wow. Wow.
No, it was either the wrong vendor or the wrong
Oh,
timeline, or something got canceled, or something got returned, or something got
yeah.
wired wrong, or something got fit wrong, or something got the pendant lights. Again, these custom stained glass pieces.
Yeah. Those are cool.
Yeah, they on my side at least, no notes. Like they came and they were here, and same with the upholstery on the booths. Like first try, that guy knocked it out of the park. They walked in, and I'm like, oh, they're perfect, great.
Yeah. Sometimes it happens, but it's not common. Not common.
Yeah, it's not common. We changed the bar flooring in here 5 times. Um,
Oh my God.
we still should change the actual flooring in here for reasons that are too long to get into. Um, the draft system we had to
My
change,
God.
like, yeah. And then health department notes
And you,
and other notes and stuff.
ugh.
So,
You're
you've been
almost
here.
there though, man. You're almost at the finish line.
Yeah, which is only the starting line.
Yeah. Well, for the next phase, man, next chapter. But
Yeah, yeah.
so, hey, before we wrap up, tell us, address, any kind of website, Instagram. What would you like people to know so they can find you?
Yeah, so we're at 8105 East Wardlow Road. It's a great parking lot here.
It's
So
huge.
drive in. It's huge. Come check us out. We'll be open in a couple weeks. Check us out on Instagram if you're curious, at Mooney's Pizza. We've been documenting the build and the growth, and now it's going to go into the opening, and then it'll be going into like what it's like to run a small business, and which I find this stuff fascinating, and it's fun to know that other people do too.
Yeah.
And mooneyspizza.com will have like takeout available on it, and like we have a big private party room over there. It's not
Oh,
1,200
cool.
seats, but it's 40 seats over in that.
40's enough.
Yeah, 40 is a great little private party room, and we'll do beer
Yeah.
tasting events and wine tasting events and
Ooh, I'm in. I'm
other
in.
stuff like that. Yeah, we have a great beer and wine program here, and so yeah, they can book that out if they're curious about hanging out and doing like a prefix pizza and beer pairing party.
Cool. That would be great.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
it's
think
fun.
I've ever been to that before. Well, okay, let's wrap it up. I appreciate you having me on. It's been fun watching your journey and hearing it live from you here. So
Thanks,
can't wait
Michael.
to be there and enjoy it myself.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting you in person.
All right. Well, I'll come. I'll stop by. Maybe I'll apply for a job. I'm getting a little burnt out
Sure.
with
Yeah,
mine.
come bartend a little bit.
Oh well, just pour. Are we having full? Is it beer and wine? It's not full
No,
47. It's
just
beer and wine.
just beer and wine. Yeah.
Okay. I could do that. Mixed
Right.
drinks gets me in trouble.
Yeah.
All right. Well, take care, my friend, and good luck.
Thanks,
And
Michael.
wishing well wishes. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.
We got it.